So welcome. It's a great pleasure to have my interview partner today being Jana Gevertz from New Jersey College.
College of New Jersey,
College
correct?
of New Jersey, okay.
Yeah.
So I know Jana for many years. I think we met the first time in Dublin at a conference.
Yeah, I think that was in 2015.
2015,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And have seen her ever since at several meetings and so on. And so why introduce yourself, just quickly?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jana Gevertz. I'm a professor of mathematics at the College of New Jersey, and we're a bit of a unique institution in that we are focused on the undergrad experience. So no graduate students or postdocs, but everything's about the undergraduates.
I see. So was this always your plan to get to an undergrad-focused university?
That's a great question. Actually, it was always my
Yeah?
plan. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I tutored math as an undergrad, and I really enjoyed working with undergraduates and thought, yeah, I'd like to keep working with undergraduates.
Yeah. So you told me earlier that you're originally from New York or from the New York area?
That's correct.
So is this always where you have been, or did you go elsewhere for studies?
So I have a pretty unusual academic trajectory in that I haven't left central New Jersey, even though not everyone thinks central New Jersey is a real place. So my schools are all connected by one highway in New Jersey. Route 1 connects Rutgers to Princeton to the College of New Jersey, which is where all my academic work has been. So yeah, it's a pretty boring trajectory in terms of traveling the world.
Yeah, but of course there's lots going on, right? And there are lots of important institutions.
It's a great area to be in, easy access to New York City and Philadelphia, but also nature. And the truth is my family, you know, this is where my family is, my husband's family. It's nice.
Okay, yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, I understand. So where did you do your PhD?
That was at Princeton.
That was in Princeton, yeah. And after that, directly to the college?
So I did not postdoc, which is not the norm for a primarily undergrad institution, but also not unheard of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But no, of course, now here at the Fields Institute, you are not primarily as a teacher.
Right, correct.
But more so as a researcher. And I had heard very nice talks from you.
Thank you.
So what are your interests in cancer modeling?
So I've really become interested in the question of how much you can reasonably learn from a model and where you should probably stop trying to trust what it's saying, right? So it's we've gotten good at saying, I have some data, I fit it, and my model says this. And the question I'm really motivated by is, really, does your model really say that, all right? How can you convince me of the robustness of that prediction? And how could we use modeling to then sort of best inform the experiments we need to trust the models more?
Okay, yeah. But that's quite an ambitious program.
I guess so, right? It sort of came from a crisis of faith of, we do these beautiful models, but we're making important decisions with them, and I want to have as much confidence as I can in those decisions. So then the question is, what do I have to do to have more confidence in those decisions?
And I know you also work with biologists and experimentalists, right? So how do you get in contact with those people?
Yeah, I probably find that to be the hardest part of this is I've had a number of collaborations where people are happy to give me data, but then acting on the data that I give back is harder. So right now, I've been working with Irina Kareva, who's in industry. And what's nice about that is, you know, we've put together some methodologies that the hope is they'll actually use internally in her company.
Oh, wonderful, yeah.
So, right, so that's sort of a direct path to implementation of the methods.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the next important problems you're looking at, you think?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this question of the right drug for the right patient, but not quite the personalization question yet. I don't nearly trust these models or the data enough yet to say we're going to personalize. So I'm really interested in the question of patient stratification, and if we could group patients into a sufficiently small number of subgroups and then have robust predictions for response within a subgroup. So that's a question I'm really interested in right now.
Yeah, this is really a hot topic right
now. Yeah.
Actually, how do you find time to do this if you're teaching so much?
That's the question I've been asked a lot here. What I would say is, I think, well, there's two things. One, time management might be my biggest skill of all, and everything else comes from there. But second, it's the amazing network of people I've collaborated with over the years. Without my collaborators, forget it, right? My research would have died a slow death, 10 years ago. But my collaborators, they sustain me going to these meetings, hearing talks. This is a great community, and that's a big part of it for me.
Yeah, I think you make a very important point. I think the times where we work alone,
Yeah.
just by ourselves, are over, right? And
Yep.
we are always teams. All the papers have multiple authors, and
Exactly.
we are often teams supporting each other and
Yeah.
working together.
And it's more fun, right? It makes the
Yes, yeah,
science
it's
more
also more
fun, but it
fun.
also makes the science better, right? It's not
Yeah.
just about more fun. You know, you can walk around having a conversation with someone after a talk, and they drop a thought about, oh, did you think about this? I go, no, I didn't. That's a great idea. Let me think about that.
So now you work a lot with undergrad students as well.
I do,
and I'm
yes.
sure you get them into research as well, just a little bit.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So I've mentored about 25 undergraduate students on research projects. The goal of research with undergrads isn't necessarily publication, but more
Right.
training. But I'm proud that 6 of my students have co-authored papers.
This is awesome.
Yeah, most as first authors, and in our regular journals, not in like undergrad specific journals. Half my students have gone off for PhDs, some have become MDs. So they
This
go
is
and do
nice.
amazing things. Yeah.
Now I wanted to ask you for you as a woman in this
Yeah.
area. So we talk a lot about underrepresented groups and
Right.
maybe obstacles for women in this career. How were your experiences?
As an undergraduate, my experience was really quite smooth. I had one class, it was an honors differential equations class, and I walked in the class the first day and it was 20 men and me, and I was surprised by that.
Okay.
My other classes weren't that way, but I never felt excluded because of it. And I think for a long time I went through not even thinking about the fact that I was a woman until in 2013, I participated in one of these Women in Math Bio problem-solving groups. So Kasia Resniak was the lead of the group. I was
Right.
invited to co-lead, and we had some postdocs and grad students working with us, all women, and there were multiple groups going on at the same time, and they were working groups for research. Well, right away, I realized my first environment with all women, that conferences were different when only women were in the room.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Women were much more open to being vulnerable about their knowledge. So I'd be looking at an expert in the front of the room talking, and they go, "Oh, but I'm so afraid to say this because so and so's in the room." And I'd be like, "But you're an expert. You can say this,
Yeah.
But you don't see that level of vulnerability as much in mixed gender spaces. And I realized there was something nice about being surrounded by more people who maybe just had some of the fears I had or the imposter syndrome that I had, And I don't need to work with only women or in women-only environments, but it showed me something that I wasn't even realizing I was missing.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably made new friendships and new contacts, right?
Absolutely.
Through this group as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. People here today, I met and worked with there.
So what would you recommend to young people, or in particular, let's say young women who
Yeah.
want to enter this area? What should they focus on, or how should they do this?
I think the biggest thing that I struggled with entering the field is that it's a highly interdisciplinary field. And what that means is you need skills from a lot of different areas. But when you have skills in a lot of different areas, you sort of feel like an imposter in every one of the fields, right?
Yeah.
So to my mathematician colleagues, I don't prove theorems. I'm certainly not a biologist. I've never gone in a lab and you know what I mean? I'm not a statistician. I'm not a computer scientist. Yet I need skills from all of them. And I remember starting my graduate degree and thinking, I need 3 more undergrad degrees to pursue what I want.
Yeah.
And it took a while to believe that being trained interdisciplinarily is okay. And there's a lot you can offer a field even without being a very, very sort of deep subdomain expert. And there's a lot of room for that interdisciplinary space. And I think I probably needed to hear that 15, 20 years ago. And now I could tell myself.
Right, and you can also tell your students.
Yes,
that,
and
right?
I could tell other students that,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, at this field thematic program, we have also some of the, how should I say, maybe senior women or so, like Natalia or Helen Byrne or so. Did they play an important role in your career?
The truth is, I was exposed to very few female faculty as an undergrad. The only female faculty I had were in calculus and linear algebra very early on. Otherwise, I was not taught by women.
Yeah.
My PhD advisor was a man, but I felt supported along the way. I think it was helpful just knowing other people are in the field, right?
Yes,
that there's room for you.
Yeah.
But I honestly did not have much interaction with those people.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I also want to ask you is about data. So the availability of data over the years has changed quite a lot.
Quite a lot, yeah.
So now we get genetics, genomics data, and we get population
Yeah.
data and imaging data and what have you.
Yeah.
So do you see this as an opportunity, or does it scare you a bit?
Oh, it's both at the same time.
Okay.
You know, when I started in the field, 20 years ago, you could build a theoretical model, and if it qualitatively did something reasonable, you go, oh, great, here's my model. And that's a lot easier than actually having models that describe data well. So I think it's an immense challenge, but it's absolutely an essential one, right? Because if our models remain in the theoretical realm, they're not going to have the impact we want. But data can drive me crazy. It can drive me crazy.
Yes, I can totally understand that. Yeah. So then, thank you very much, Jana. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Really nice interview.
Wonderful.